It's Anonymous here. Forms, kata, daolu, dulan. There's a lot of misunderstanding about them. So I want to go through today 3 myths that people have about forms and 3 things that are actually great for training forms. So, first off, the first myth that I think is very, very pervasive with solo forms is that they will teach you how to fight. The only way to learn how to fight is to fight. So forms are not for that. If you, as my original teacher said, if you come to a form thinking it's fighting, you've got the wrong idea to start. So there you go. If you start up a form, don't think that it's going to automatically give you any type of fighting prowess. That's not what these things are for. Now that brings us to the second myth. This myth is basically that a form is a solo exercise of shadowboxing, meaning that we are constantly thinking of an opponent in front of us, and that's the whole purpose of this, is to kind of rehearse a fight in our heads. And then again, totally not the purpose. The movements in the forms, and we'll get to this when we get to what they're good at, right, are really not intended to mimic the exact way that you're going to fight, because you're not going to fight like that. The way you move in a form, outwardly and everything, is very different than the way you're going to move and react in a fight. So they're not shadowboxing, they're an exercise which is looking to kind of replicate the stresses on the body. There are 2-person forms where you're working with a partner and you're going through a rehearsed set of movements. This, again, is not really intended to show you how to plan out a fight. What it's really meant to do is, like, here's what it feels like doing it on a person, here's what it feels like a person doing it on you. But that is not the end of it. You must spar. Okay? And that is the last one, which is, if you practice a form which is fancy or acrobatic or unrealistic in a fighting sense, you're doing movements that are unrealistic or whatever, your fighting will suffer. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, I'm going to say this. The only way to build up bad habits in fighting is in fighting. The only way to build up good habits in fighting is fighting, right? You must do it in fighting. If we take these movements here where you're going down here, a lot of people say, oh, well, you're bringing your hand down here, why would you bring it down there? There's a whole lot of reasons why you would do that. If you're sparring and you're doing your forms, you can see the difference of these and you can see how they benefit each other, right? But they are separate things and we have to keep them that way. On to 3 things they're really, really good at. Number 1, cardio. The cardio, the stresses on your body, in your lungs, on your heart, on your circulatory system, all of that kind of stuff, are very, very closely replicated to that of being in a fight. Traditional form is around the time for a traditional round in some sort of combat sport, which place similar taxes on the muscular system, the cardiovascular system, and the neuromuscular system. So you do that, your cardio is going to build up. That's going to translate directly to your fighting. You're going to notice that you can go longer, you can take a little bit more abuse, you can move around a little bit quicker. The simpler and more direct footwork when you're up against one person is going to be much easier to grasp and easier to take in. And that brings us to the second benefit. Neuromuscular patterning. The movements that we do in our body create neural pathways. When we do big motion, this doesn't necessarily seem different to our neuromuscular system. Sometimes the same patterning occurs, but not in a direct kind of way. It's just patterning these things. If I pattern all of this kind of stuff, my shoulder girdle and all of this apparatus is going to work a lot better. And the number one benefit to forms. You train so much by yourself. You can't spar with people all the time. Obviously, this past year has shown us that sometimes is not an option. Forms are way more fun than just drilling, than just being static and hitting a bag and going through your workout routine. You can get the same benefits, but you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. You can imagine things, you can use your imagination, you can have fun. It's very much like playtime, but you're getting a lot of benefit, and it's a lot of work. It's hard work, right? It's very, very hard work. I've always said this, the only reason that wushu athletes cannot fight is because they don't, right? So if you do forms and you're doing all this, don't think that you're going to get your fighting prowess directly from those forms. You're going to get it through sparring. But don't give up your forms when you start sparring, because those forms are going to help your body stay strong, agile, and fast. All right, so there you go. 3 and 3. Why you should train forms, what they're going to do for you, and what they won't. So, until next time, train hard, patience, practice, perseverance. Happy sabering.